Number 8. Papa Shango. Voodoo Master Papa Shango debuted in the WWF at the beginning of 1992. A character loosely based on Baron Samedi from the James Bond series, Shango terrorized the company with his chants, spells, curses, and his maniacal laugh.
What is going on?
Too lame and hokey even by early 90s standards, and fans had no interest in him. But that isn't entirely the fault of the character, as the rug was frequently pulled out from under him. The Big Papa was supposed to feud with Sid Vicious until Sid quit the company. His most famous moments were against the Ultimate Warrior, making him vomit and bleed motor oil. But despite weeks of build, the angle just stopped for no reason. Once the big storylines fizzled out and the losses piled up, the mystique of Papa Shango wafted away like the smoke that came out of his staff. Or rather, the smoke that wafted from the fatties he was always talking about when he would go on. Number 7. In my worst debuts countdown, and my opinion on the gimmick has not changed. Don't get me wrong, it was definitely creepy if I were an effective character, but legend has it the reason it was nixed at the last second was because standards and practices, no, I mean the real version, not Lenny and Loda. Number 6. The ECW... He only made one infamous appearance on the inaugural episode of WWECW, where he came out to the ring, grunted, then got caned into obligatory by the second. Number 5. Tagar, Lord of the Galaxy
in search of battle.
You could fill an entire video with the dumb ideas the King came up with, and believe me, one day I certainly will. But the one gimmick that could possibly come closest to actually being scary was Tagar, Lord of the Volcano.
Bring me your best.
And the man under the hood was apparently a journeyman wrestler named Jim Corbett. Tags only appeared on TV for a few weeks in the early 90s, wrestling Bill Dundee and Jerry Lawler a handful of times, but he never did get to follow through on his promise of breaking the bones and spilling. Number 4. Mordecai. Kevin Thorne's character in the revamped ECW, I think it actually worked well given the climate he was in, and of course having Ariel on your arm is a great way to be remembered, but it was his first run on the main roster that was truly frightening. In April of 2004, we began seeing vignettes for Mordecai, defeating Scotty 2 Hotty at Judgment Day. He beat Bob Holly at the Great American Bash the following month, then lost to Rey Mysterio that same week on SmackDown, Hail Ryder, or his weird crucifix staff.
Hear me!
Number 3. Ram Bully debuted for TNA as Redrum, a gimmick based on the imposter Great Muta character he played in Japan. After his debut at Genesis of that year, he was renamed Relic. Besides being billed from the depths of hell and having spooky entrance music, there wasn't much to be feared about him, an afterthought early on. His partnership with Black Rain was anything but fruitful, and the team lost time and time again. He'd be gone from TNA less than a year after his debut. Number 2. The Boogeyman. Marty Wright had lied about his age when applying for the $1 Million Tough Enough, but WWE officials liked his look and his determination enough to give him a shot in OVW. Wright debuted with this wild new character in 2005. The angle in OVW was that Wright had gone crazy and actually believed he was the mythical creature, and he had the conviction to make it work, except... That laughing guy in that year would stay with the company until 2009 and wrestled about 10 actual matches. But he ate a lot of worms and did scare a lot of wrestlers in angles that were seen more as goofy than terrifying, which apparently is enough to get signed to a Legends deal in WWE. Now that's... We've seen slasher flick monsters portrayed in the ring. Guys like Leatherface and Jason are commonplace in Japan, specifically the Wing organization, where you'd see them partake in death matches. Memphis was a breeding ground for these kind of imposters as well, as Jerry Lawler, number 1 worst scary wrestler of all time is... True WWF, then doing the same thing in WCW would surely create the same results. Meng, the Giant, Loch Ness, the Zodiac, King Curtis Iakea covered in popcorn finish, the goddamn Yeti. These exaggerated B-movie monsters were all brought in with the goal of getting WCW fans to like Hulk Hogan, but all it did was accelerate the Arn Anderson and 7 other Dungeon members in a triple-decker cage match. These goofs could not be taken seriously as villains, and therefore neither could Hogan as the conquering